Our international affairs editor, Armen Georgian, is here. Armen, how much do you think Hidalgo's entry into this increasingly crowded presidential race changes things up?
Well, I think in that soundbite you heard, she's clearly trying to court Green Party voters, and note that there is a Green Party primary happening this month as well. But if we just zoom out and take a bigger picture of the left, it is a very fragmented field. Obviously, Anne Hidalgo, the mayor of Paris, has just entered this race, but there are others on the left, such as Arnaud Montebourg, a former socialist government minister who's going to run. There's a communist candidate who's come forward. There's Jean-Luc Mélenchon as well, of Unbowed France, who's going to run alone again because the rift between his party and the socialists is pretty irreparable. So it is a very diverse field on the left at the moment.
There are at least 3 women running to become the first and next president of France. Anne Hidalgo, very well known in Paris, not so much in the rest of the country, but one of her competitors is very well known even internationally. It's Marine Le Pen. Tell us a bit more about her chances, her 3rd time running for the job.
Yes, so she gave her first speech on Sunday as the official candidate for the national rally. She kicked off this campaign in Fréjus in southern France, and it was familiar themes: immigration, security. Without security, there's no freedom. So very, very familiar themes for her and for that party. Let's take a listen now.
Nous éradiquerons, mes amis, des quartiers, les bandes, les mafias et tous ceux qui, islamistes ou non, veulent nous imposer des règles et des modes de vie qui ne sont pas les nôtres. En France, les Français ont le droit de vivre comme des Français.
So as you heard there, Eve, very familiar sort of discourse, but where I think it was much more grey and ambiguous was the whole programme about Europe. That on the one hand she talks about the dictatorship of Brussels, but when it comes to the nitty-gritty, for example, what to actually do about leaving the European institutions or not, she's much more ambiguous. For example, she said with the European Court of Human Rights, we won't leave the court, but we will just not apply their decisions. So how does that work in practice? And this reminded me a lot of her the famous presidential debate she had against Emmanuel Macron 4 years ago, when 4 years ago, when she talked about the, using a mixed monetary system. She didn't want to completely leave the euro, but wanted to have kind of 2 parallel systems. This kind of ambiguity might actually not help because A, it's not very understandable to the average voter, and B, it doesn't really break her out of her base, which is what she really needs to do now if she's going to make inroads, because after all, the party didn't do particularly well in the regional elections. They failed to win a single region, and so that really poses the question of how does she go beyond her base, how does she break through that glass ceiling in the presidential election next year.
Okay, Armen, thanks for that.